Season 2 of The Last of Us is going to be amazing, and here is why I think that is. HBO just released a teaser trailer for this new upcoming season, and in my opinion, it fixed everything that was wrong with Season 1. Don't get me wrong, I think The Last of Us Season 1 is the best video game adaptation there has ever been, and I must say that The Last of Us Part 1, the video game, is the very reason I started script writing and I came into this field. So these characters are very important to me and the story is very important to me. And I think season 1 does do it justice, but there was this lingering feeling as I watched it that there was something wrong. There was something just off about it. Everything was there, the acting is amazing, the production value is really great. But there was something that just made me feel like something's missing, and I didn't really know what it was until I got to this scene.
We don't have to do this. I want you to know that.
What do you mean? What else are we supposed to do?
Nothing. We just go back to Tommy's. We forget about the whole damn thing.
After all we've been through, everything I've done. It can't be for nothing.
This final pause before the climax of the story, Joel tries to get Ellie back to Jackson. Now, this scene is very important because this is the completion of Joel's character arc. I could probably go more into details about this in another video, but the importance of it here is Ellie's reply, which is almost a carbon copy of the reply she has in the video game.
We don't have to do this. You know that, right?
What's the other option?
Go back to Tommy's. Just be done with this whole damn thing.
After all we've been through. Everything that I've done. It can't be for nothing.
I think both performances are amazing. I think the way it's shot works for the scene, the moment in both, and the pacing of the edit work. But I still felt like it was off. Why is that? And this is where I got to the bottom of it. It's not really about how it's done technically. The scene on both ends works really well. The problem here is the line and what it means at each point in the story. For the video game, when this line comes, it hits really hard because the player has just been going through 18 hours of gameplay. They've spent all of this time with these characters. These characters and this journey has become part of them. And for Ellie to be faced with this option of, okay, just go back to Jackson, just give up, the player feels with her. She cannot go back, not after everything she has done. That's what's really important here. In the show, I didn't feel that as much. Yes, she has been through a lot, but it does not compare with what happens in the show. And now, that's the thing, I really did not want to get into this video comparing why the video game is better or the TV show is better, because these are two different mediums. Of course, the video game every single time is going to be the one where you feel more attached to the characters. It's just the nature of the medium that video games are. What I felt was missing in the show is this sense of fear that is really intrinsic to the themes of The Last of Us. The horror in the game comes in parallel to the beauty of it, and this is something present in every single level. It's the beauty of the lush, overgrown nature versus the horror of the violence and the fungus, and it's eerily, even the fungus becomes pretty. This duality, in my opinion, is exactly what The Last of Us is about. Everything from its world down to its characters has a beautiful and an ugly side. And this is where we can go back to Neil Druckmann's quote about what the games are about. He said The Last of Us Part 1 is about love and The Last of Us Part 2 is about hate. But that doesn't mean that each of them doesn't have a bit of both, because we as humans always are carrying a bit of both. We're always carrying this violence inside of us as well as this love. And to me, this is what's so great about The Last of Us and what it's trying to say. This is something that I felt the show didn't do as well. And this could be just my own personal opinion, but I felt like everything in the show looked absolutely beautiful. And I did not feel disgust or this horror, except in very specific scenes that are amazing, but that are few and far between. And this is where, when I get to this line at the end of the show, I felt like something was wrong, because everything we've been through wasn't really as strong here. It didn't affect me as much as the scenes that did in the game. This is just to say that I think the only thing missing from The Last of Us Season 1 was emphasis on the horror aspect of this story. And they do that very well in a few episodes. There's the first episode, this opening scene is absolutely brilliant. And I kept looking throughout the show for something like it, and it just didn't come. Consistently, everywhere they were going, everything looked so perfect, even in its attempted imperfection, if that makes sense. And this is just fundamentally what made me feel off. This missing piece was all that was needed to really make this line towards the end actually mean what it is supposed to mean. It still gives a sense of what it's supposed to mean, but to me, I just think that this is what would have really elevated this to just as good as the original game. This is where I get back to The Last of Us Season 2. This teaser trailer to me shows that, okay, yes, this was our Season 1, but now we're really getting into the thick of things. This teaser trailer has some tough images. Things that are reminding me of films like Incendie, even more in line with Chernobyl, created by Craig Mazin, who's also the creator of The Last of Us alongside Neil Druckmann. That was exactly what was missing from Season 1, and I'm really happy that I'm seeing it in Season 2. The Last of Us Part 2 being my absolute favorite story ever told. These two games are just so close to my heart. So if the trailer is indeed an accurate representation of what we should expect, I think with what I've seen so far, it's heading in the right direction.